Now, tonight, speaker one, Craig Kelly, focus on leadership and management. Focus on leadership and management, Craig Kelly.
Good evening, fellow Toastmasters and guests. Tonight my presentation focuses on the fascinating field of leadership and management. I became interested in this topic when I really commenced studies a few years ago during a diploma. Since that time I've carried on studying in this area, done a graduate certificate, graduate diploma, and now I'm partway through my Masters in Public Sector Leadership. So I'm trying to think of a topic at the last minute for this speech 8. This was the topic. So I'd like to share with you tonight some insight into the field and hopefully pass along a few learning points for your information. So let's start with the definition of management. And look, management's main focus is on keeping the organisation going. A manager's main job is to plan and organise and control. And the focus really is an administrative one, and on systems and structures, and they rely very heavily on control and have a short-range view. Whereas leadership is the ability to create an environment where individuals willingly apply their unique skills and unique abilities to a common mission. So leadership is about the relationship between leaders and their team. Now the leader's job is to set direction, align people, and motivate. And they're also to be innovative and focus on people and inspire trust and have a long-range view. So let's think about it. Are you a leader or a manager, or do you have both? And I guess what we really need is to have a combination of both. So you have management and leadership, and these two aspects operate hand in hand. And one way to understand leadership is to look at the Venn diagram on the board. Most of the time the two functions intersect. They do not intersect, however certain activities require both outstanding leadership and management. So this slide shows that managers organise staff and leaders align staff. There's some similarities in what the two functions do. So managers cope with complexity, leaders cope with change. Now management can be seen as a series of circles of influence. So at the core of management is the ability for the manager to understand and manage themselves. And that's the first and foremost aspect when you're wanting to manage people, is that you understand yourself. So I focus very heavily on this point that you must know yourself, your strengths and your weaknesses before you can be expected to manage a team or other external people, etc. So when I completed my diploma, I was asked to do an assessment on various aspects of management. Now I won't focus on my results, but the areas, I did identify some areas for improvement as well as some of my strengths. So if you're interested, those types of tests are out there, and it's a good way to get a gauge of where you're at. So another important aspect of management is planning. And as Winston Churchill is quoted as saying, if you fail to plan, you are planning to fail. So in the field of organisational environment, it's very important that the manager sets goals for his team. And I guess what is common in this field is to set objectives as well. And they use the phrase SMART objectives, which is an acronym for specific, measurable, achievable, relevant, and time-bound. So if you're setting an objective, you want to make sure it's specific in its nature, that you can measure it, it's achievable, and of course relevant, and it has a time frame that you're trying to meet. And of course, with objectives, you should also ensure that you can answer the following questions. Who will do how much of what and by when? And that will certainly let you know if your objectives are smart. So another aspect of being a leader and manager is to review performance. So So there's three aspects to this, and these include setting the expectations early, managing performance on an ongoing basis, and then reviewing results as well. So as you can see, that requires coaching, tracking results, counselling, feedback. All of these skills we learn throughout our daily lives. Now, no person can be a great leader without the assistance of others. So hence, one must engage with others, motivate others to help work to a common purpose. So how to do that is to learn how to delegate. I'm just going to quickly run through 6 steps for delegation. First thing, if you want to assign a task to someone and to do something on your behalf, it's to prepare the material, hand it over so it's full and complete. The next is to define the task at hand clearly so that there's no question about what you're asking. Time frame is another aspect. Set the time frame. Also, accountability. You want to make sure that it's clear on whom the person is reporting to and what they're required to do. Monitor, and of course evaluation. So 6 simple steps on how to delegate. So, are leaders born or made? This is a question that's been touted in the leadership sort of field for many years. Now, briefly, there's 2 answers. They could be born or made. Of course, there's a lot of theories out there in the leadership area, and one of them is the trait theory, and that is that people are born with certain characteristics. Now, a study was done by Stolp and others in 2013 on US presidents, and it was concluded that height was indeed, and I quote, an important factor in US presidential elections, and taller presidents are rated by experts as greater, having more leadership and communication skills. These findings correlate with an earlier analysis by Judge and Cable in 2004, which associated taller individuals with increased self-confidence and leadership potential. So height is an inherited trait, which positively confirms that leaders are born with traits that predispose them to leadership. Now, contingency theory is another theory which came along after in the 1960s, and that places a focus on skills of individuals and leader-follower relationships. Now, this puts the emphasis more on leadership can be learned as opposed to you're born with it. And moving into the more relevant theory of today is the transformational leadership, which is inspiring others to achieve through charismatic type style leadership, and that can be also learned. So to answer the question, can a leader, is it born or made? The answer is, I'm of the view that people can become a great leader with, obviously, born with certain qualities that can enhance their leadership and through experience and practice. So just moving right along, there's an example of a leader that persisted and through adversity triumphed. Now, I just wanted to illustrate tonight that the club has leadership manuals. There's the Competent Leadership Manual and the Club Leadership Handbook. So there's opportunities right here for you to work on your leadership and management skills. And in closing, there's various aspects of management and leadership that I've discussed tonight. I've only touched on the surface. It's an area that's of interest to me. I have some resources, including a book on leadership. If anyone wants to borrow that book, they're more than welcome. And of course, I encourage you all to get involved and get involved in club activities and develop your leadership skills. Thank you very much.